The world's eyes are on Istanbul, a city that has long stood at the crossroads of history and diplomacy, where the fate of nations has often been decided. Here, the US and Iran face a last-ditch chance to avoid war, a moment that could shape the future of the Middle East and beyond. After a year of escalating threats, failed talks, and a brief but violent conflict, both sides are now dangerously close to open confrontation, with the world holding its breath. Last year's collapse of negotiations in Oman led to military strikes and a near-regional war, shattering trust and stability across the region and leaving scars that have yet to heal. Iran's supreme leader warned that any further attacks would ignite a massive regional conflict, a warning that has echoed through capitals from Tehran to Washington. The US has responded by ramping up its military presence in the Persian Gulf, sending warships and aircraft to signal its resolve, creating a volatile standoff that could erupt at any moment. Both nations are locked in a tense stalemate, with economic pressure mounting on Iran, daily life disrupted, and the risk of renewed fighting ever present for millions of ordinary people. This summit is seen as a critical, perhaps final opportunity to choose diplomacy over disaster, a chance to step back from the edge and seek common ground. The stakes are nothing less than peace or a catastrophic war, with families across the globe watching anxiously, hoping for a breakthrough that will spare them from further suffering. American and Iranian diplomats now carry the burden of de-escalating a crisis that threatens the entire region, knowing that every word and gesture could tip the balance. The world waits to see if they can pull back from the brink, or if history will once again be written in the shadow of conflict. The outcome of these high-stakes negotiations hinges on the abilities and strategies of the key negotiators, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Senior Advisor Jared Kushner. Both men have been empowered with the authority to make major decisions on behalf of the United States, and their every move is being closely watched by allies and adversaries alike. Representing Iran is Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, a seasoned diplomat whose presence signals Tehran's serious intent to engage under the new leadership of President Pezeshkian. His arrival has drawn significant attention from the international community. Araghchi has made it clear that Iran will not negotiate under pressure, setting a tough and uncompromising tone for the talks. His stance is a reminder of the deep mistrust that still lingers between the parties. Meanwhile, regional powers, Turkey, Qatar, Egypt, Oman, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan, are all present at the table. Each country brings its own interests and concerns, making the outcome even more unpredictable and complex. Intense back-channel diplomacy, especially by Qatar and Oman, has been crucial in making this summit possible. Their efforts behind the scenes have helped bridge gaps and build trust among the participants. In recent days, Araghchi has reached out to regional rivals, seeking common ground, while Witkoff has consulted with Israeli officials before heading to Istanbul, highlighting the web of alliances and rivalries at play. The flurry of meetings and hurried discussions underscores not only the complexity but also the urgency of this pivotal moment in international diplomacy. With the world's eyes fixed on Istanbul, the question remains, can these new faces at the negotiating table finally break the deadlock and deliver a breakthrough that has eluded so many before them? Former President Trump has injected new tension, warning Iran to accept a deal or face bad things. His threats, backed by a U.S. military buildup in the Gulf, are meant to pressure Tehran but risk hardening Iranian resistance. The timing is calculated, coming as Iran reels from internal unrest and economic crisis. Trump's ultimatum puts a clock on the talks, raising the stakes for both sides. For Iran's negotiators, any deal must not appear as capitulation to American threats. The pressure's on. Failure could mean war, but a deal under duress may not hold. Iran's return to talks is driven by a deepening crisis at home, one that has left the nation's future hanging in the balance. Years of crippling sanctions have devastated the economy, paralyzing industries and sparking mass protests in cities across the country. The rial has collapsed, prices for food and medicine have soared, and public anger is at a breaking point. Everyday life has become a struggle for millions. January's protests were brutally suppressed, but the regime's grip is fragile, and the sense of unrest lingers in the air. President Pezeshkian knows that without sanctions relief, another uprising could topple the government. The stakes have never been higher for his administration. For Iran, lifting sanctions is now a matter of survival. not just foreign policy. Families are desperate, businesses are shuttered, and hope is fading. Araghchi insists Iran won't yield to threats, but the regime is running out of options as pressure mounts from all sides. The leadership faces immense pressure: economic collapse, political instability, and the ever-present threat of renewed unrest in the streets. That desperation is what's brought them to Istanbul, seeking a breakthrough that could change the country's fate. The regime needs a deal to survive. The stakes are existential, and the world is watching what happens next. The US wants a sweeping deal, ending Iran's uranium enrichment, dismantling its missile program, and halting support for regional militias. Iran insists only its nuclear program is negotiable, refusing to discuss missiles or regional allies. If a compromise is reached, sanctions could be lifted, Iran's economy could recover, and the region could step back from the brink. Success would mean stability and a chance for further diplomacy, but failure would likely trigger military action, with devastating consequences for the Middle East and beyond. A US or Israeli strike could provoke massive retaliation and a regional war. The cost of failure is almost unimaginable. The world holds its breath as the talks begin,